This is Blackgirlthought Radio. Hi guys, welcome back to Blackgirlthought Radio. So, we're just gonna jump right in. So basically, I have been wanting to do a ton of recording for such a long time, podcasts and sort of video content, but number one, I am an artist, and if you guys want to see some of my work, you can go to my Instagram, and if you guys want to support me that way, you can go to my Instagram, but I've been just so busy creating, and the more you create, the more you want to create, so, I just feel this urge to sort of pour out and, teach and things like that, so, I've decided that, and I have so many podcasts already recorded, but number one, editing takes time, and I really just don't have, hours to edit. My life is sort of at that point, running my business where people are ordering some of my paintings and stuff, and it's just everything's fast moving. So I decided that I am not going to edit my podcast. So if you guys hear a bunch of fumbling and me being a mess, then that's just the price you damn pay. Okay. So and also I found when I edit my content, I become super critical, and I'm maybe I shouldn't say that. I just second guess myself, and I really don't want to do that. I really want to help you guys as much as possible and sort of hopefully provide answers to questions you guys have been asking, with or without words. And I have so much to sort of pour out that I just want to do that. So we are just going to kind of get into it, and hopefully I will be sort of throwing tons of podcasts your way. And I find that I actually love podcasts, when I'm in, or I love listening to audio, when I'm in the car and I'm driving, I actually really enjoy listening to podcasts and other sorts of sort of forms of audio, audio books and things like that. So now that I love it, I'm just ooh, how about I make these bitches listen to me while they drive to work and from work, listen to my foolishness. So, and I also just feel this strong urge to create. So I recently made a post on Instagram, and it was just a really sort of important post to me. And I think it helped a lot of people and could help a lot more. So I'm going to read the post from my Instagram, and then I'm just going to sort of dive in it a little bit, because I know, studies definitely show that we are definitely more depressed than previous generations. And it has so much to do with social media, and so much to do with the fact that we're feeling this anxiety to sort of have arrived already. We're feeling this anxiety to be perfect already and to have these perfect lives. And we see people who are 19 making six figures and things like that. And that's just absolutely amazing. But for those people who are working in sort of traditional settings and are still building, and people who just graduated college and haven't figured it out, people who are still in college, there's this overwhelming sense of inadequacy that I definitely sort of sense when it comes to social media. And even for me, my job is in social media. I sell all of my art from Instagram as of now. I have no idea when I'll open a store or a website. That'll come in the future. But for right now, I actually really enjoy sort of doing it through social media, because there's this sort of intimacy, and I can sort of contact people and keep them posted. And I've had some commission pieces done, and people are able to sort of, I'm just able to keep up with everyone as far as their pieces are concerned, and so they know I'm working on it. And if I get sick or something, then people see it on my Instagram and know, sort of just give me a bit more time. I personally love Instagram for that, but I also don't follow a lot of accounts. I also find myself not using the explore page because I genuinely have no interest in making myself feel negative emotion. I have no interest in looking at things that are completely fabricated sort of for the internet and for sort of visual purposes, which is totally fine. I want us to understand that even the sort of dolled up, perfected parts of us is still a part of us. So if there's someone who posts a bunch of sort of glamorous pictures, and that's all their Instagram consists of, that's cool. However, for me and for a lot of us, it can make us feel just these sort of feelings of inadequacy. And even though it's fabricated, we still feed into it. People who understand that the models on TV and the models on the magazines are airbrushed, you still get this feeling of that's real. Our brains sort of can't differentiate if we don't do it intentionally. This isn't real. So for me, the way I use social media has become much different. I have to, because I work in social media and I love it. And I'm not an influencer at all in any sort of way. And I have no interest in being one. I just sort of speak my truth and sell my art and just sort of do my thing, and I want to help. But I do want to encourage you guys to literally, if it makes you feel negative emotion, you don't have to indulge. You don't have to participate. Like, you can find a way to utilize social media sort of in a way that makes you feel good, in a way that actually sort of satisfies you. So even if I go to the Explore page, I'm looking at predominantly art on my social media anyway. So if I go to the Explore page, they're showing me mostly art. And even with that, sometimes I'm just like, fuck, like, I'm not sort of as big as them. Like, my art isn't selling like their art. Like, it's just this comparison thing. And when that happens, there's a part of me that's just like, get your shit together. Like, you're doing well for where you are. Like, so I want to help us understand how the age we're living in can definitely sort of affect us as far as depression and anxiety. And there's this sort of and even this sort of guilt and shame that, like, I'm not where everyone else is, or I'm not where I want to be. I want to just help us to understand, like, you're definitely not alone, and there are ways to make the experience better for yourself. And there are things that sort of I implement that I can talk about a bit later, just like the things I sort of mentioned already, that sort of just makes me able to use social media in a better way. Like, I don't have Facebook. I'm predominantly using Tumblr because, like, no one fucking knows anyone on Tumblr. So I'm predominantly using Tumblr and Instagram, and I'm using them, like, for my business, but I'm also using them to sort of see. I genuinely believe that social media is helping us sort of pinpoint and illustrate a lot of things that are going on. Like, there are a lot of memes that have truth to them, and I actually want to do a series where I take memes and sort of like debunk them and sort of get to the basis of it. And we laugh at them, but some of them are actually so fucking, like, they're just rooted in a lot of issues, like, that we have as far as race, class, gender, sexuality, discrimination, like, trans issues. Like, there is a lot to be discussed when it comes to memes and when it comes to the ways in which we're using social media that I could think could be sort of super helpful for sort of scholars and people doing research and things like that. And I'm in the process of writing my first book, and I'm even going to use social media as a tool, because if I ask questions and people answer them and sort of give me their consent to use their answers in my book, those are people's actual stories. And that's not very different than going to some sort of like mall and standing by a kiosk and asking people questions and asking them to fill out surveys. Like, it's sort of the same sort of thing. So I'm just like, why can't I use it sort of from my platform with real people talking about real things? So I think that social media can be extremely useful, but if you're prone to sort of insecurities and you're already feeling inadequate, it definitely can exacerbate those feelings. Like, it definitely can make it 1,000 times worse, and you just feel like you don't want to move. And I want you to understand that following those fit pages does not make you want to work out. Like, following those pages where the girls have flat stomachs and big butts that they literally sort of use their father's money to go get butt implants and then say, oh, I do squats. Like, I want us to understand that what we're seeing is not real. And comparing ourselves to this, we have no idea what truth is. We have no idea what these people have gone through. And, like, I know for a fact that a lot of white girls on social media who sort of get butt implants, like, and then come on social media like, yeah, look, I squat. And you can tell her thighs don't even match. Like, you can tell she's not working out. Like, she started working out and making fit videos after her butt damn healed. So, like, I want us to understand that, like, this is not truth. And also, when there's a norm and when there's something to follow as far as like beauty standards and body image, like, when people start hopping on the bandwagon, it's sort of like, it's always so fascinating to me now that everybody sort of wants to be thick, but they don't want to be fat. Like, they want to be thick, but they don't want to have sort of belly fat and cellulite. So it's kind of like, let's take the parts that are sort of deemed popular and sort of use those parts. And that just fascinates me, because it means that you have no sense of who you are and what makes you beautiful without the world telling you what makes you beautiful. So my thing is, what the hell happens when butts go out of style and there's a bunch of people just sitting around with big butts that they actually hate, but they did because of social media? Like, I want us to understand that you don't have to be sort of this person who gets so wrapped up in social media. Like, I literally work in social media. That's how I sell my paintings. Like, but there's literally a point in which, like, I'll make my posts for the day, do what I have to do, and then I'll literally disregard it and move on and, like, finish creating and get ready for, like, my next batch of posts. And I check in just to make sure the comments are okay and see if anyone ordered a painting. But, like, my overall experience is not social media. Like, it can't be, because first of all, I enjoy the actual real world. I enjoy real life connections. I enjoy real life fucking snuggles. And like, that's just me. I prefer sort of in-person communication. So social media to me is, there's a barrier. There is a sort of lack of intimacy that I personally like enjoy and I value. So I'm making a point to spend more time in the real world, to spend more time talking to my father and going out into the world and making human connections. And that's just me. So I want us to understand that even if you work in social media, it does not have to be like, excuse me, I would have edited that out, but sorry, y'all. It does not have to be the bulk of your experience. So I am going to, this sort of became a podcast about social media, but okay. So basically what I wrote inside of the caption on a picture I put on Instagram, this is what I said. So, quote, "What parts of yourself are you hiding from? If you find yourself feeling depressed and low frequently, it is most likely because you have imagined a better experience and desire one, but you have not yet reached that place. Some of you feel depressed because you want to start a healthy eating regimen, yet you beat yourself up for not having done it. Others of you may feel the desire to create, yet you never actually start. Denying yourself the growth and expansion that is calling you literally makes you feel depressed. When the distance between where you are and where you want to be are significantly different and you aren't moving any closer, depression can emerge. You feel powerless and helpless. You sleep because you need peace and dread the hours in the day. How do I know this? I've been there. I lived in this state so intensely I was hospitalized for attempting to take my own life. Trust me, I know what disempowerment feels like. So again, I ask you, what parts of yourself are you hiding from? Are you an artist with so many drawings that you never physically manifest on paper? Maybe you're a writer with tons of novels in your head, a scholar who's afraid to go back to school. Let me let you in on a little secret. You will not feel relief until you begin moving in the direction of your dream, period. You've tried the easy routes and you're still sad. I urge you to begin moving slowly and steadily toward your true desires. You're welcome." So what we're going to do is basically sort of go part by part and debunk that, because I think there are so many like juicy gems. Sometimes I read my writing and I'm like, damn, bitch, who wrote that? Yes, girl, like the fuck, slay me. Like sometimes I read it and like I read, and it's funny because I used to do that when I write papers. I'm like, shit, I wrote that. Like, okay, because when I'm writing, I'm so in the zone. It's sort of like there's this broader part of me taking over and I'm sort of flowing. And even when I don't watch my videos often, but even if I see a snippet of like my video that someone like recorded and messaged me, like I'm just like, shit, okay, like it's me, but like there's so much wisdom that I'm just like, all right. So when I read some of my writing, sometimes I'm just like, who the fuck wrote that? She know what she talking about. Okay, so let's go part by part. So what parts of yourself are you hiding from? If you find yourself feeling depressed and low frequently, it is most likely because you have imagined a better experience and desire one, but you have not yet reached that place. So within that, and I struggled with this for a long time. There's just, oh my God, there's so much here. So, and so many things that like I can talk about, and you guys sort of like send me messages like, you brought up so many things like that I would like you to make like a video on just that specific isolated topic. And I do that often. Like I sort of can like talk about one thing, and within that there are fucking so many juicy little like nuggets that I can literally like expound upon and like make bigger and sort of really dive into it. And that's the beauty of like sort of me creating podcasts and content, because like we really can go in depth with these things that we don't usually talk about, but they fucking matter a lot. So what parts of yourself are you hiding from? If you're listening, like, I mean, obviously you're listening if you hear me say that. If you're listening and when you hear that, there's something that pops into your mind that like you haven't yet done, but you see it in your mind so vividly, it's sort of like you're running from that part of you. Like, you know what's there and what's waiting for you, and yet you're just like, nah, no. And that happens often with like writers, with creators. It's because you don't want to be like, no matter what we say, we are definitely sort of tribe oriented. So we want to fit in with the tribe. Like we don't want to be shunned off to the side and sort of like just made to be an outcast. Like that's not fun for anyone. But if you're an artist who's actually creating, you know that like just the way your mind fucking works, like, you're different. Like, for me, when I try to explain my ideas, people look at me like, what the fuck? And then when I execute it, it's like, that's fucking gorgeous. And I'm like, I know, bitch, but like, you didn't. So like, I find myself not explaining anything. Like, well, I do it with my dad sometimes because he can see the vision, but like, even sometimes I'm just like, I have to keep this in my head until I actually can like execute it onto a canvas or something like that. And just because I don't want to seem weird. And that's a part of me that doesn't want to be sort of shunned from the tribe, even though my tribe is like my dad. like I don't want to be sort of weird, but like, as an artist, I see everything so vividly. I interpret vibration like through images in my head, so I can have like 3-hour session like a visualization of like what I want to do. And it could be just like basic things like what I need to buy for myself, like when I get my next like bulk of money, like what I need to do with it. And it also could be things to like what I want to create, the pieces I want to create. I see myself literally holding up these pieces and like people buying them. I see myself sort of like with like my own exhibitions and my own exhibits. Is that what it's called? Exhibition makes me think sexual, and that's a mess. Okay, I see myself with like my own like art shows and things like that, and people looking at my work and admiring it. So like, I personally sort of experience this translation of vibration. Like I see it in my head so clearly. And the thing is, what helps me not feel depressed, like right now I'm on like medication, and we can talk about medication later, but like a lot of you actually need medication, but you're avoiding it. As a Black woman, this whole idea of being super strong has been pushed upon me to the point in which like I had to almost kill myself to get on medication. Like when the doctor told me I can like leave and I'm free, like, cause he trusts that I won't try to kill myself again, he said, promise me you'll consider medication. Like, everyone since I was pretty much young knew I was depressed, but like, it was just like, oh no, like Black people don't do medication. Like it was just like this sort of like known thing that like we don't do medication, like we're bigger than that, or like we don't need that. And that can be harmful as fuck if you actually do need medication. If your brain has reached a point where it's chemically imbalanced, like, and you need medication and not getting that, there's no amount of fucking yoga, there's no amount of meditate, like there's no amount of any of that can help. Like those things are sort of like supplements. Like they're there to assist you, but they're not there to do the full bulk of the job, which is like what medication does. Like, and there's so many antidepressants, so you're gonna find the antidepressant that you need no matter what. You may have to try a few. Like I had to try just one before I got the one that was like perfect, so I'm like grateful. But like you may have to try a few before you find the perfect one that just like shuts the fucking part of your brain off that's anxious. Like when I first started taking my medication, I promise you the first few days I was numb as shit because it worked so well. Like I was not anxious. I was like, I don't feel anything. The fuck, the world is just cool, you know, whatevs. And like I slowly started to become more of myself. Like I slowly started to come around, but I knew for a fact this medication was for me because it was fucking powerful. It was strong. It was like, and when I don't take it, I become suicidal as fuck. And that's how I know I need medication, right? So I do all these other sort of spiritual practice and yoga and listen to about law of attraction, and like I'm tuned in spiritually and I'm in alignment as much as I possibly can be, but like I need medication. So there are some of you who literally believe that like if you get on medication that makes you weak, you're not doing enough. Like, and I fed into these ideas, like honestly, and it wasn't until like I started dating like white men, and like they were just like, I like the way in which I got on medication. I feel like we just going all over the place. That's nice. Just tune in, the fuck, just listen. So the way in which I got on medication was because I was seeing like this one sugar daddy, and I basically had like everything he had. Like he had ADHD, and he would just like watch my behavior, and he'd just be like, I think you have ADHD. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Like, what, boy? Like, I just like my like in the Black community, like mental illness isn't a thing. Like mental health is like, you just gotta be okay. You just gotta fight through it. And that's sort of the mantra. And that's so damaging and detrimental. Like, that's so horrible when you actually have something that's diagnosable and you actually need help. So some of you have something that is extremely diagnosable and you need actual help for like your anxiety because it's crippling. Your depression, crippling. Like your life is passing you by Yet it's like, I don't need medication. Like, yes, bitch, you do. If it's hard to get out of the bed and do your laundry, you may need some medication. Like, if it's fucking hard, if you spend literally months at a time in bed feeling low, just eating, the only time you get out of bed is to piss and eat, you may need medication. Like, something is up. I don't really care. And I have been in therapy since I was third fucking teen. Like, dude, the reason I'm so emotionally well-rounded and sort of able to really sort of dive into these topics that are difficult and make some people feel uncomfortable and guilt and shame is because I was actually trained on how to sort of like be emotionally available and emotionally free. So like, that's why I'm able to do this. People are starting to ask me like, how are you so like whatever, and how are you able to do these things that you do and talk about these things and you're so self-aware? It's because I've been trained since I was 13. Like, that's it. And mind you, when I was younger, I fucking hated it. Nobody wants to talk about their abuse when they're fucking 13. Like, dude, who the fuck are you, white lady? Like, no, but she gave me lollipops, bitch. So I went back. That's nice. The fuck, what the lollipops at? And we did some drawings and I was like, yeah, girl, he touched my no-nos. The fuck? Like, what's this? So like, I can like laugh about it now because like I've done like the work to understand that like I'm so fucking lucky that like I was forced to go to therapy and counseling, and like that's how I'm able to be here. So like there are some of you that like talk therapy is not like like these things are all sort of like assisting you, but like they all work together. So like medication plus talk therapy plus sort of like moving in a direction of your goals so you actually feel a sense of self-esteem and worth and value, plus sort of meditation and like tuning into these things. Like all of these things work to make you a full, emotionally well sort of moving person. And when you sort of don't hit it like where it fucking hurts, as in like the medication, like because medication is so fucking powerful that there are like these like I think antidepressants or something like serotonin inhibitors or responses, some shit like or receptors. There's something about the brain where like there are receptors that if you literally turn off, your anxiety turns off. Like if like the medication sort of like tackles that part of the brain, you're able to work more efficiently. Like your anxiety turns off, your mood then increases because there's more serotonin getting in, because there's less of like whatever the other fuck thing that sort of like, sorry, there's a truck going by my street. So what I'm saying is medication is actually powerful as fuck. There's been years and years and tons of research on this medication to help you and guide you. So like what I'm really saying is, so for me, for example, my brain literally can like, so what I've been diagnosed with is OCD. And mind you, all these things usually go together. Like with a lot of sort of mental illnesses, if you don't deal with it and like sort of get it under control like immediately, then what happens is, if you don't get it under control, what happens is it gets worse and it turns into bigger fucking things, right? So I think mine started with just like anxiety, because like the guy who abused me, like he was my cousin. So when he would come around, I would just get so anxious. Like I just knew what was going to happen. And then like the anxiety of keeping like his secret, and it's crazy for me because my mom would always ask me like, is someone abusing you? Is someone touching you? And I would be like, no. And like, as a fucking like 5-year-old child, it's just like, I'm lying to my mom, like, and to protect this person who's just like, don't tell on me, you don't want me to get in trouble. And I'm fucking 5. So of course I don't want anyone to get in trouble. So like, there's no fucking way around me developing like a mental issue. Like there's no way around that. Like that makes absolute sense. And for some of you, it came from your fucking parents criticizing you. Like it came from you going to school and being bullied. Like literally there's like, the reason in which we develop this fucking anxiety is because no one teaches us how to be healthy human beings and like actually work through these issues. Like no one teaches us how to deal with bullying properly. Like no one teaches us like, what the fuck do you do when there's a secret and you can't tell it? Like no one really teaches us how to be emotionally well. Like no one teaches us how to love ourselves. No one teaches us how to love at all. A lot of you need a fucking lesson on how to love because you have no idea, because no one ever taught you. Like, so we're just all flapping around doing what everybody else is doing. That's why everybody's writing books on how to love. And like, and it's just like, no one fucking ever taught us that. So for me, it is no fucking secret, and it is no like sort of figment of anyone's imagination as to how I developed these really fucking big major like mental illnesses that like I worked through. And for a long time I was so resentful of like this person did something to me and now I have to fix it. Like, what the fuck? Like, I felt like it upset me for a long time. And I'm sure some of you who've like been abused, like, especially when you're younger and when you're innocent, it's like, you fucked me up. Like, why do I have to go to therapy and fix it? Like, why am I the one who gets like the brunt of that with like depression and anxiety? Like, it's fucked up. So, but then there's a point in which, and I remember someone explaining this to me, and it's the perfect analogy, and it's something that I will continue to pass on anytime anyone feels like a victim, or anytime, and mind you, there are very seldom any victims, because we create our own fucking reality, and what comes to us is a reflection of what we have vibrationally going on and the thoughts that we're primarily thinking and the beliefs and expectations that we hold. So that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, and like, I used to struggle with it, but it's so empowering to understand that I am responsible for what comes to me and what I attract. So as you get older, there's no more blaming mommy and daddy. There's no more blaming anyone. Like, you need to fucking get your shit together and deal with it and start making moves in the right direction, because this is the rest of your life. Your abuser is probably off in jail or off somewhere living their fucking life if they're still alive. Like, and that's fine. But like, then you have to take on like the work of making yourself whole and happy, because you're the only one who suffers. Like, you're the one who has issues with relationships, and like, you're the one who suffers. So the analogy someone told me was, someone came into your kitchen and spilled milk in your kitchen, and it's even though like you didn't spill the milk, it's still your job to clean it up, because bitch, it's your kitchen. Like, so when it comes to the things that have happened to us when we were younger and when we were innocent and people abused us and things like that, it's like, someone spilled milk in your kitchen, and I understand that it's unfair as fuck, but like, it's up to you to literally sort of like fucking get it together and clean that milk up, because it's your kitchen. Your kitchen's gonna smell, not their kitchen. The person who did it, their kitchen isn't gonna smell. It's your kitchen. Like, your kitchen is gonna get fucking moldy and your floor is gonna be ruined. Like, I want us to understand that there's a point in which you have to literally sort of like fucking boil it down to, I have to fix this because I'm the one who's living this life. I'm the one who's going to put up with like the consequences of not moving forward, right? So if you still sort of in that place of like, you're a victim, I get it, but there's a point in which like, you're responsible for moving forward. You're responsible for making sure that like, there's no mold growing in your fucking kitchen. You're responsible for cleaning it. So even if you have a kitchen in which like there's a bunch of shit that just piled up, there's hella dishes and shit like that, hella flies, hella fruit flies, this kitchen is a damn mess, like, and you get depressed because you're just like, there's so much to fix. Like, I have so many problems. Pick up one fucking dish, start working on that dish. Pick up the next dish, start working on that thing little by fucking little, and literally momentum builds, and you'll start seeing dramatic differences in the way you feel and what you're attracting. Like, but there's a point in which like, we can no longer sit around like these victims and sort of feel powerless. And that's what depression is. You just feel utterly helpless and disempowered, and you don't know where to move, and you feel like you can't move. There's this stuckness that's just like, I can't move. And oftentimes I want to let you know that is not true. I think no matter where you are, you can make a small move toward progress. Like, if you're a fucking writer who's avoiding writing that book, you literally can write one paragraph. No, bitch, you can write one sentence. You can literally break it down to where you come up with 2 characters and 2 events that you want to happen in this fucking big ass book. Literally break it down. All big things were once small things. Like, that's how that works. Like, and I learned that through like creating content on YouTube. Like, I learned that through fucking going to school. Like, when you're in school, all those years build up, paper after paper after paper, till one point you're like, damn, bitch, I wrote 250 papers at this fucking institution. Like, but no one's asking, no, like, you don't go there and they're like, we want you to write these 250 fucking essays right now. Like, it's gradual and it's a process, and then you come out of it like, fuck, I've grown so much. Like, but you have to start actually moving. Like, you have to start actually taking responsibility for where you are right now, because the person who spilled milk in your kitchen and who dirtied your fucking dishes, they're probably long gone, like, and they're living their own life, dealing with their own fucking kitchen. Like, you have to clean up your own kitchen. And like, forget about who did it and whose fault it is. You have to take pride in like, bitch, this is my kitchen. Like, I love my kitchen. Like, I have to clean up my kitchen, right? So what parts of yourself are you hiding from? If you're listening to this and you're a fucking writer who's not writing, you're a dancer who's not dancing, you're someone who's really like, who knows you would be so deeply into fitness and nutrition and you're not doing it. You're someone who wants to go back to school, yet you're embarrassed as fuck because you might be older, or you might have to repeat a grade and you might be embarrassed. And like, all of these things, like, Like you're a painter and you don't paint. Like, you can fucking draw, you don't draw. You're an entrepreneur at your fucking core, knowing you're not meant to work for someone else. Bitch, that's me. And like, you haven't started a business venture. Like, you haven't done anything. Like, you want to work in a nonprofit world, yet you don't sort of volunteer. But that's what makes your heart fucking sing. Like, I want us to understand that, like, also, randomly, did you know you can go to a hospital and you can volunteer to hold newborn babies, because like skin to skin is actually like a thing, and for babies who don't have mothers. And I personally think I think you have to do a background check or some shit, but like, I actually think I want to start going to fucking hug babies, because like, what the fuck, give me some babies, just random. If you guys want to look into that, I think I might be into that. So, and I physically don't want to have children. Like, I want to be a dog mom and like just be married and fuck my husband all day and like create and paint. Literally, like, I was talking to, this is random, but that's nice to fuck settle in. I was talking to someone the other day about like not wanting children, and number one, and I'm gonna do a whole fucking thing on like abortion and like this whole mess of feminists and kids and shit like that, because y'all a mess. So basically, what's really funny is people are just like, how do you know you don't want children? Bitch, I've been pregnant. And when I was pregnant, you want to know the first thing? When she was like, you're pregnant, I knew I was pregnant because my titties hurt so bad. Okay, when I tell you my nipples were fucking like missiles, they hurt so bad. Like, they were so tender and so erect, and I'm just like, this isn't like, first of all, where the fuck is my period? But also, like, what the fuck is up with my titties? And then I started throwing up in the morning, and I'm like, yeah, bitch, you pregnant as shit. And it's funny because the guy who got me pregnant, girl, it was a mess. Okay, bitch, he was 6'4" and Nigerian. And when I tell you that he had the smallest penis I ever felt in my fucking life, like, I mean the smallest penis ever, I was just like, you breaking damn hella stereotypes. Like, you black and your dick small, you tall and your dick small. I'm confused. And mind you, for those of you thinking that size matter, it actually doesn't, because they can't change the size of their penis, but you actually can change the state of your vagina. Vaginal weightlifting, look it up, is actually a real thing. There are, when you say do your Kegels, them shits don't work. That's like going to the fucking, okay, let me break it down. Just some real gems right quick that y'all gonna be like, bitch, make some videos on that. So basically, the guy Arnold Kegel, who came up with the first Kegel fucking machine, it was a machine. He used an actual machine. The machine provided two things that are very important for any sort of muscle growth, and that's what his purpose was. He wanted the muscles to sort of grow, because women were actually having pelvic prolapse, which is something that happens after you have a baby. And I think it's called urinary incontinence, when like women sort of like pee a little bit when they laugh and shit like that, because their like bladder and their vagina literally just isn't like as tight and as strong as it used to be. But it's possible to get your vagina back to that consistency, because it is a muscle and you can actually work that muscle. How do you get muscles to grow when you go to the gym? You add resistance, which is a weight. So you literally sort of make the muscle grow by adding some resistance, and that's what he used. So if you look up Arnold Kegel, the doctor, you will see the machine that he used back in the day, and it provided him feedback so he can tell which part sort of within the vagina that he was sort of getting stronger, and there was resistance. So there was some sort of weight, some sort of something for them to sort of lift up. With that, with someone just doing a normal Kegel, that's like literally just somebody going to the gym and they ain't got no fucking weights in their hands, no resistance bands, nothing, and they're lifting thin air. Bitch, ain't nothing gonna grow. What you doing, boy? That's what it's like to do a normal Kegel. So I want you guys to understand that you can get your fucking vagina literally like, it's like a muscle. So you know the dude with the big ass bicep, he had to continuously add resistance so the muscle could stretch and grow. Your vagina is the exact same way. You can get your vagina muscle to stretch and grow. And when it stretches and grows, it actually gets tighter because the muscle grows, right? So you can actually change the state of your vagina. And a lot of you are actually really numb during sex because your vagina is actually like dead. It's numb. Like if you don't do penetrative like masturbation, like your vagina literally can sort of become numb where you don't feel as much. So if you need someone to pound you super hard, like to feel something, most likely your vagina is numb. If you're not achieving actual orgasms, your vagina is numb and you're not responsive. But there's a way that you can change that. So I want you guys to look up, if you're interested in this, look up what a yoni egg is. Look up vaginal weightlifting, and you will see so many videos of so many women teaching you how to vaginally weightlift. And literally I've read stories where like women pussies will get so tight that like their husbands were just like, okay, you have to stop because it's getting too tight. Like, you can grow the muscle of like your pussy, like you can change the state of your pussy. Like, so size is not that big of a fucking deal, dude. Like, calm down. Like, you can make it to where as though your vagina is so fucking sensitive that you are literally having orgasms that strew across the room. And that's the goal. You want to be able to feel every subtle fucking nuance sort of sensation, and you can do that. So literally taking like a jade egg, a yoni egg, like look it up. And there are women literally in like like in Asian cultures that do this thing called vaginal ping pong shooting, where they shoot ping pongs across the room from their pussy. Some of you have pussies so weak that if you try to shoot a ping pong, that shit just gonna flop down and go to your butthole, girl. Like, your pussy's weak, but the thing is, you can actually fix that. You can actually start a workout regimen for your vagina. So literally you can like wait. Some women do this with masturbation. Like, there are yoni eggs and jade eggs that actually like vibrate, so like it feels good as fuck like when you pull it up to your cervix. And I want you guys to understand that we actually hold tension inside of our bodies. So like my shoulders, for example, they are actually so tense, and like there's actually like this lump on my shoulders from like all the tension and anxiety over the years. And I'm sure it started when like it started forming when I was like abused when I was younger. Like, but our bodies actually store tension. So some of you who have some disorders like vaginismus and some things where your body just doesn't respond sexually, you're actually holding on to some tension. Like, someone actually asked me to make a video on like vaginismus, because she was saying she was like sexually abused, and now literally her vagina clenches up and she has a muscle spasm anytime anything tries to enter it. And like, that's the definition of your vagina literally holding tension inside of it. So I want you guys to understand that like our bodies hold tension inside of it. So like, we have to start dealing with like what the fuck is going on with us. And we say like, he didn't make me come, but like, I want you to understand that like, you have to do what's up. You have to do what you need to do for your pussy, so that it's an environment of great orgasm, so that it's an environment where like your body can be responsive. So look up fucking jade eggs, yoni eggs, look up vaginal weightlifting, look up all these things, and you'll understand that like his penis being small literally doesn't have to be a fucking issue, because literally your pussy will be so sensitive that even fingers going in, it's just like, oh my fucking God, I'm gonna come. And that's the goal. Like, the goal is for you to literally feel any sort of fucking like minute sort of like any sort of feeling like, and your pussy's just going crazy. Like, that is the goal. That's what you want to accomplish, and you can get there. And you also can build up the like muscles into your pussy where like you can give him like the equivalent of a hand job with your pussy by controlling your muscles. Like, this is all possible, and it's not done by doing some fucking random Kegel where you squeeze your shit together. Like, you need something hanging from it. So like for me, when I use like a jade egg to like do like my vaginal weightlift, like whatever, I basically take something that I attach the egg. So the egg comes with and I would have to do like a visual sort of video on this. The egg comes with 2 little holes in it, and you can put unwaxed dental floss in it. And now there's like sort of the egg that you're holding up in like your left hand, and there's a string hanging from it, and you can hold anything from that string. There's a woman, she's amazing. I will leave her information in the inbox, in the description box. Her name is Anami, I think, and she fucking lifts up mangoes. They heavy as shit. I've seen her lift up a fucking pineapple with her pussy. She lifts up surfboards with her pussy, chandeliers, bottles of juice. Like, her pussy's strong as fuck. I think she's up to 9 or 11 pounds, but the woman in the Guinness Book of World Records, she can lift up 31 pounds with her pussy. Like, so you know her pussy's tight. You know that she literally fucking has the most insane orgasms. Like, her pussy is ready for fucking action, and that's how we all should be feeling. I think a lot of women would enjoy sex and think it's more about them if like your pussies were more responsive, and if there was more of communication and things like that. So that's just a random tidbit. I know y'all gonna ask me about that and send me messages about that. So, and for the people who want to have children, over 50% of women experience a pelvic prolapse, like, after they have kids, meaning literally your fucking organs prolapse. Like, dude, and it's because a fucking big ass, heavy ass baby was sitting on your fucking organs. So it makes sense. Like, your body's built for that, but then you have to build it back up. So like, don't let anybody fucking try to convince you to do some random ass Kegels with no sort of resistance. You need resistance. So buying a jade egg, I can leave a link for the jade egg and things like that. So buying a jade egg and literally starting a workout regimen for your vagina, you're going to become super sensitive. I mean, like, I could literally lift for maybe 3 days, and like when I have sex again, I feel so much more. Like, it's like my pussy has come alive, and it's so fucking good. Like, oh my God. I personally love sex, and I have a very intense drive. Like, and when I'm like involved with someone that I really like I want to be able to feel everything. I want to be able to come hard as fuck. So like, I don't know how we got here, but that's just that. Okay. That's that. So get y'all pussies tight. Get y'all pussies right. Okay. I'm a mess, and I'm glad to be back. All right. So what parts of yourself are you hiding from? Y'all bitches know what parts of yourself y'all hiding from. I ain't got to keep illustrating that point. So next part of the sentence is, if you find yourself feeling depressed and low frequently, it's most likely because you've imagined a better experience and you desire one, but you've not reached that place. So this sort of goes into like the idea of like social media and the things that we're seeing where like, you want to be maybe like a mother of 3 with your own fucking house, but yet right now in this moment, you're about to graduate college and you're still living with your parents and like what, and it's like, I'm not there yet. But the thing is, when you make subtle steps, like no one's in college like, fuck, I wish I was a senior. Like, bitch, you a freshman and you still got hella papers to do. Like, it's like something about college and about the education system that makes us sort of confident that we're going to move forward. I need us to have that same confidence in what we're doing as far as reaching our goals. So for example, I want to paint so many fucking paintings, and like right now currently I'm probably up to like 20 something that I've posted on Instagram, and in my house right now that still needs to be photographed, I may have like 75, right? So I'm moving, and say my goal was 200 or 300. I'm moving toward my goal. Like, I physically can see it, so I trust it, right? There's a lot of you that have these goals and these things that you want that you just cannot fucking see the end of it. It's like having a dirty kitchen again, and you're like, okay, the garbage needs to be taken out. The floor literally needs to be re-fucking tiled because it's dusty and it's a mess. Like, the tile is coming up. It like dishes are in the sink. Like, the oven needs to be clean. The stovetops, like, it seems like so much. Like, so for people who want to sort of get to a certain weight and who want to be healthier, it's like, bitch, I weigh 463 pounds. But I want us to understand that the small steps actually matter. Like, no one ever just starts something and be like, well, here I am. The idea of an overnight success does not exist. Any artist will tell you that. That is not real. Like, any musical artist, they've had hella mixtapes before they made it. Like, they've been writing rhymes since they were like 3. Like, it's like, there's no idea of like, there's no truth to the idea of an overnight success. There's truth to sort of like this moment where like everyone catches on and like it sort of pops, of course, but behind that pop, there's work that was done. Like, there's emotional work. There's sort of believing in oneself. There's sort of like continuing to write. And there are so many authors who have literally like 3 books, and maybe there's only 1 book that made it. The woman Elizabeth Gilbert who wrote Eat, Pray, Love that turned into a movie. Like, she has hella books, and I don't think any other book turned into a movie. So like, and now everybody knows who she is from that. But like, she's been writing since forever. Like, it's like, we always tend to think, especially because social media is illustrating it now, we tend to think that like people just sort of, this happened. Like, I'm at 18,000 plus subscribers, and like, I've been doing this for 2 years. Like, so it's not like, yo, I just got here. This happened in 1 day. Like, that's not real. Like, so I want us to give up this fabricated idea of like success happening overnight. And a lot of you are feeling depressed and anxious as fuck because you know where you want to be. You see it so vividly in your head, yet you're here. You want to be living in Paris somewhere, yet you living in the fucking ghetto somewhere listening to Tyrone, bitch. Like, but the thing is, you making small steps toward that thing you want matters. Like, that gives you a sense of worth and a sense of value and a sense of validation. Like, that actually matters. Moving toward what you want is worth it. I promise you it's worth it, and it matters. So literally what I would recommend, like, is, and what will help you is just doing one small thing that's going to help you feel better. Like, if you want to work out, like, get up and do 10 jumping jacks and 5 crunches. Like, that's something. And the funny thing is, when it comes to working out, your body starts to sort of shift and change just from like the smallest movement. Like, it may not be like you lost fucking 15 pounds in a week, but it will be like, shit, I can start seeing results. Like, I start seeing seeing like my stamina build. Like I start feeling better about myself. I start feeling like I can do it. Because what happens when you're sitting in like a dirty kitchen for so long, it's like, fuck, I cannot clean this. It's too much. Like, but literally picking up that washcloth and starting to wash that first dish, like you're moving forward. In that moment, you're moving forward. And I want us to understand that like moving forward in progress, no matter how small and minute, actually matters. So a lot of you are feeling stuck and feeling low, but like the reality is you don't have to stay in that place. The reality is you definitely can get to a place where it's like, I'm making small moves. I'm making small progress. I'm not stuck, because like you have to get to a place where you're not stuck. For me personally, getting unstuck means meditating. That's what it means for me, because the answer and the solution have different vibrations. So I cannot continuously harp on the problem and get the solution. Like you cannot come up with the solution when you're too deeply into the problem. You have to back up a bit and literally let the universe yield to you the solution and what's to come. So for me, that's personally what I do. That's how I found painting. Before I started painting, I literally wanted to kill myself again. Like I just got to that place where I was so low because I felt so stuck. But literally I was just like, all right, universe, I'm gonna fucking tune in. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna do yoga. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck is required of me to like move forward so I can hear from you. And I practice that all the time. When I'm creating and when I spend like maybe 6 hours painting, it's a meditative state. And I come out of that with the best fucking ideas. I come out of that with the universe downloading images into my head about what's to come next. I get the best ideas. That's how I literally started to like create podcasts again and start to sort of get into creating, because I'm like, the universe is like, this is what's next. Like, this is what you're going to do in addition to your painting. So like, shout out to my paintings, bitch. Go buy one of my paintings. What y'all doing? So for me, it is about sort of tuning in. It's about shutting the fuck up and letting the universe yield to me sort of what's next, and letting like I personally studied the law of attraction. Who I listen to the most and how I became this way is I listen to Abraham Hicks. If you don't know who that is, tune the fuck in, because it will change your life. That's who I listen to. And there are also more people like Bob Proctor, Dwayne Dyer. Like there are so many people who are talking about like how we sort of create our own reality. Read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill that was sort of written and published and released in like 1930. And it's still like a book that is so frequently bought because it's so useful. Like it talks about how we literally create our reality, and the more we move toward the shit that we want, the more the universe literally starts to fucking open up. And like people will say it's luck, but it's not. Like this shit wasn't no accident. Like for me in particular, it's not a fucking accident. Success is intentional. I don't know why people think that people just stumble upon it. Like, oh, you just started writing music today. No, bitch, I got 3,000 songs written. This just happened to be the first one you heard. Like I got 12 books written. This happens to be the first one you read. Like I've been doing this, and I want us to understand that like literally just starting with a small step. Like understand you're trying to build a fucking building, and it has to be brick by brick. How else do you expect the building to be built? Like how else is it gonna happen? Like brick by brick. Okay, like start cleaning out your kitchen. Like start cleaning out your kitchen, because once your kitchen's clean, it's like, oh shit, I can do it. Like okay, and then you look back on how you achieved it, and you realize you achieved it by literally one small thing at a time. For me, I paint one painting at a time, one thing at a time. Like I post one thing at a time, and then again and again, and then I start to see the numbers grow, and I start to see like shit, I'm building momentum, and like I have a lot of paintings and I'm getting closer to what I want, and the universe starts yielding to me, and I'm selling more paintings, and people are starting to take notice. Like my dreams are literally sort of like revealing themselves and opening themselves up. So for some of you who are feeling low and feeling stuck, I encourage you, number one, to like tune in, like by starting to meditate. There's so many like meditations on YouTube. I personally would do like Abraham Hicks meditation, because that's what helps me. Like, or even do yoga with me has like free meditations that I use, like guided meditations that I use. Like there are just so many things that like can help you tune in, so you can literally turn off and stop the resistance and sort of stop activating like the problem, so the answer can come to you. Like that's how all of like the answers to things I've wanted have come to me. And that's how my depression literally has lifted, and I started moving toward the things that I wanted. It wasn't an overnight thing. When I first graduated college, and no, somebody needs to fucking talk about this. When you first graduate, you have to move back with your parents and you feel like a fucking failure because everybody else is working in their field and doing their big thing. And you literally, I didn't go to school for painting. I studied fucking feminism. I went to graduate school on a full scholarship in London for feminism, bitch. Now I'm an artist. Like, what? I still use my degree because I get to talk about these issues and I understand gender and social constructs in a way that like sort of a layman person doesn't understand it. And like, I love teaching and explaining it, but like, I didn't fucking go to school for painting. But it's amazing when like I see people who did go to school for painting, they're like, your work is incredible, and like that means something to me. But like, I no longer feel bad about not having studied like what I do now. Like that's fine. Niggas take a different path. Like, it's okay. So, but I get to wake up and do something that literally makes my heart sing every day. I get to wake up and do something that I love every single day, and to know I'm sending paintings off and people are sort of appreciating them. And like, there are people who've bought my work and they're like, I literally enter the room and there's an energy in your work that literally changes like the entire room. It changes my like mood. And like, that's what art does. It translates, like it carries. When you hear a song, you literally can tune into the vibration of the artist. Like when you look at work in a painting, you can tune in to sort of the vibration and the frequency of what's, and I feel like a weirdo talking about vibrations and frequency, but like, if y'all know about law of attraction, if y'all know about basic physics, everything is moving. Everything that looks like it's still, look at it through a fucking microscope and it's all moving. Everything is moving. Everything is moving all the time. Your thoughts are moving and they're attracting more things to you like it. So if you're always feeling like you're poor and you're always going to be poor, the universe is like, cool beans, that's all I can give you right now, because you have this belief and this idea and these thoughts that you think that's just going to keep you in the same place. So you literally have to shift your thoughts and your ideas and your beliefs in order to shift your experience. That's the only way this works. Like, that's it. So a lot of you are feeling really low because you just feel stuck, but like, you aren't stuck. I want you to understand, one brick at a time. Literally, if you do something for the next 7 days that you haven't done in the last 7 years, that will be more progress. Like, you will see progress. Like, you will feel good about yourself. Excuse me. You will feel good about yourself. Like, and that will be considered progress, right? So I hope that made sense. The next part is so about this like idea and this reality that you've sort of imagined. I want you guys to understand that like the physical reality that we see was once in someone's head. Right now, look around, everything that you see. If you're driving in the car, if you're sitting in bed, if you're doing dishes, everything that you can physically sort of translate with your eyes was once in someone's head. Thoughts become things. That's why imagination is so important. Like, I think it was Albert Einstein who said like imagination is more important than knowledge or some shit, because like, if you can see it, that shit is real. Like the Wright brothers, I'm not sure if they're sort of like solely what we consider responsible for the airplane, but basically they had to do with like sort of developing the first sort of flying aircraft. And I've read a story about how like one brother they would fail and one brother would be like, it's okay, brother, I've seen us in my head flying an airplane. I've seen us flying, so we'll get there. I want you to understand that everything you can imagine and have seen in your head is real. If the universe has literally allowed you to see it, if you've been able to translate it with an image in your head, it is real and you're moving toward it. And the only reason you feel bad is because you're not allowing yourself to move toward it. So the Wright brothers would have been depressed as fuck if they would have given up on the thing that they saw in their head after one failure. Like, that's not real. Like, I had like a business that like I like didn't pan out. Like, I wanted to sell earrings and shit, and like it just, and then like I was like, I want to sell something else, but like I've always saw myself having my own business. Like, so when I started my art business, I actually have all the supplies that I need to ship things out. Like, I have the label maker that I have for the other business. I have the software that like it's like I sort of saw myself doing this thing, and just because it wasn't that specific thing, I still saw myself doing it with my own business, like being the fucking boss, like having people that I employ to do things for me and outsourcing, like, and there's so many other things, like my marriage, it is so vivid in my head. I know exactly what's gonna happen. I know exactly who I'm gonna marry. Like, I know exactly the ways in which he gonna fuck me. Like, I've seen it in my head. I know we're gonna honeymoon. Like, I know what my ring is gonna look like. It's like, I've seen these things in my head, and I have no doubt that they're real. They are real. They exist. And all you're doing in this physical world is moving toward those things, and you feel negative emotion when you aren't moving toward those things. And I know that this is resonating with most of the people listening because it's truth. That's it. Truth resonates with you when you hear. So sometimes when people go to church, they're like, oh my fucking God, I feel like God just spoke to me. All it is truth literally being downloaded into you, and you're ready to receive that truth. And a lot of you have been waiting for like this truth and this message, and you can start moving forward. For some of you, there are some things you can hear now and sort of like move toward, and some that you can't, and that's perfectly fine. Listen to this fucking thing over and over again until you start to sort of understand. So I want you to understand that everything you can see was once in someone's head. The chair that you sit on, there was once a person who was like, bitch, we always sitting on the floor. How about we get these little legs together, and then we sort of prop it up, and now we sitting upright. And it's like, the person was probably like, you better sit your ass on that floor. Like, but the chair was created. Like, the first bed, it's like, bitch, we always sleeping on these rocks, and they hard. You got the first bed, like you got the first mattress, like something that's made of soft material. Like, if you look at the inventors, like people who, I think about George Washington Carver, because every fucking black kid knows like they had to do a history project on fucking George Washington Carver and shit, and Madam C.J. Walker fucking relax her head ass. Like, every black child knows about that. So I think about these inventors, and I value them so much more because they took the ideas in their head and they physically manifested them. They moved toward the physical manifestation. I want you to understand, everything that you want to create, there are resources. There are unlimited resources. Like, I remember when I first started painting, I make coasters as well. I didn't know this, but there are like 1,000 coasters that my dad, like 1,000 ceramic tiles. That's what I make my coasters out of. There are 1,000 like ceramic tiles in my basement. And my dad was just like, oh, I have some of those. So like, literally the resources have been available waiting for me to move toward it. The things that you want, it's available waiting for you to move toward it. There are people in your life who literally have things that you want, who are just waiting for you to tap into it and move toward it. That's it. People who are going to become your best fucking friends, people who are going to become your business partners that are in your life, and they're just waiting for you to move toward the thing that you want to manifest. So like, I want you to understand that everything that you are perceiving right now was once a physical, was once imagined in someone's head, and they moved that to a physical thing. Like the first ink pen, like the first fucking hair mousse, like someone created that. Like these things were created. Like, we don't have things we don't have like things being downloaded from different planets. Like, everything that is now physically on this planet, like, think about it. The internet, like, has evolved so much, like, because someone thought of it in their head. Like, apps that we use, phones that we're using, like, these concepts were in someone's head and they physically manifested them. I want you to understand that your dreams and desires are no different. You see them in your head, you start to move toward them. There are a limited amount of resources. Everything you need is here. I remember when I used to go to church, they used to say everything you need is in the house. Like, the earth is your home. Everything you need is at home. Everything you need is in the house. So you can start moving toward the things that you want, because everything you need is here. The people, the resources, like the money, like everything you need is available to you. And I want us to really sort of grasp that concept and really start to understand it and start to move toward it. Like, not with sort of resentment and shame and guilt that it's taking you so long, but like eagerly, like, shit, I had this idea for so long. I'm excited. Like, I'm hyped. Like, what is the universe going to yield to me next? Like, you all have so many ideas in your head that are waiting and waiting sort of to help someone. I want you to understand, your ideas don't just come out of fucking your ass. Like, there's a collective consciousness and a collective asking. Like, my videos and my desire to make my videos, like, when I tune into the universe and it says, hey, do this project or make this set of podcasts on this topic, that means that there is a collective consciousness, meaning there are a collective few of people who want this information, and the universe wants me to be the vessel, like, because my intentions match the intentions of like this collective whole. And let me break that down further. So say there's a group of 100 people wanting to hear me talk about a certain thing. They've just been eager and they've been looking for someone that's going to make like a podcast to talk about it, or they want to hear a certain sort of sequence of words that's going to unlock something in them. I'm sure we all heard something that changed our lives, right? That means that we've been waiting for that thing, and the universe literally used this person to sort of deliver that thing to you. We've all been there, and I think a lot of you experienced that with some of my content, like, shit, that makes sense now. Like, you've been waiting for this one last piece. So my intention is to help you guys and sort of help you understand a lot of what you're going through. And your intention is to, like, there's this collective consciousness, collective intention of like, we want sort of a solution to this problem. We want to hear someone talking about this issue. Like, and a part of the issue is the fact that no one's talking about it, right? So you use me, someone who's a boss ass bitch who like, we gonna talk about it today. Someone who's had years of training of talking about the uncomfortable things. How perfect is it that the universe is using me as like this vessel to literally bring you guys the information and to be able to talk about the taboo subjects? That's how perfect the fucking universe lines things up for everyone. Like, that's how perfect it is. Once you tap into like these sort of high frequencies and sort of tap into hearing what the universe is saying, you start to sort of literally line up with things that match what you've been wanting. So there are people who stumble upon like my videos, like, how did I get here? You got here because you've been asking this question, and the universe is using me to deliver it to you, because there's a collective consciousness. Like a collective consciousness of people who people who wanted to use their cell phone when they weren't at the house. Landlines became sort of obsolete. We still use them, but they became obsolete. So literally the universe used sort of some sort of person who had the intention of making sort of technological advances to make people's lives easier. There we have the cell phone. There's a collective consciousness that's asking for this thing. And then there's someone in a collective group of people who's bringing it to fruition, who's literally open vessels, who are looking and who are eager and who are tapped in and turned on to like this energy stream of creativity. And they're looking to manifest, right? The things that you guys want to create, the places in which you guys want to go that you've seen, there's a collectiveness sort of like consciousness that's asking for like the ways in which you want to create and the things that you have. So if you're a writer, there's someone who's waiting for your book. Like if you're an artist and you sing, there's someone who's waiting to be sort of like brought into a new place of understanding through your voice and through like what you're doing. And you only feel bad because you know the truth. You know you're supposed to be at that place, yet you're not moving toward it. And that's why you feel bad. That's why you feel bad, because you're literally not tuned into your resources. Like there's a bigger spiritual part of you that literally is giving you the ideas, that's sort of letting you know where you're going. And when you don't tap into that part of you, you feel like shit. And that's what depression is. And then you feel anxious because it's like, I'm running out of time. Like I'm getting more and more ideas, yet I'm still in the same place. That's sort of how that works, right? And I was gonna get through this whole fucking quote, but I can't. Like I done talked forever and ever, and I think we've gotten a lot of good yummy stuff done, and it's been a whole damn hour, so y'all have a whole hour of content to listen to me fucking ramble. So I'm gonna stop there. Okay, I will continue this. Hopefully I will get this out to you guys soon enough. Literally what I'm gonna do right now is fucking download this and get this onto and get this uploaded to YouTube, and that's how I plan to work from now on. I'm not editing shit. Those little coughs y'all heard, I'm sorry, bitch, I'm human. I got a little mucus, a little phlegm, and we're just gonna keep it moving. And I hope that this was useful. If you want to support me, bitch, buy some of my paintings, because that's how mama pay her bills, and mama's a little late on bills, okay? Yeah, if you see a piece of my art that resonates with you, like, I can totally work with you guys. Just email me or DM me if you don't have Instagram. Like, well, if you don't have Instagram, you can actually look at my work on like Instagram.com/AnnieCans. I'll leave that link below, and then you can just email me if you want like a piece. Just ask me if it's still available. But there are highlights on my page that says like available art and shit like that. So you guys now have a way of supporting me, which makes me happy. And hopefully I will just continue to create, because I feel less pressure, because I'm not going to sort of like try to censor sort of what I'm saying. I'm just going to like let it flow and trust that the universe is working through me, and that there's something that's happening. If there's something that resonated with you guys, if you guys have a question, leave comments, email me, what up. I love y'all, and I am happy to be back. And you will be hearing from me shortly, hopefully. you will, hopefully, yes, you will be hearing from me very soon. I am going to get this uploaded to YouTube, and I'm glad you settled in with me for a whole damn hour listening to my shit. But it went by so fast. I feel like I got a lot of shit to say. That's nice to fuck with. Y'all gonna get a lot of podcasts because I got some shit to say. Yeah. All right. And yeah, I love you guys. And I hope that like the sounds around me aren't super like affecting you guys in a mess. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye. I love y'all very much. Very much. All right. Bye. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe for more.